We're finally at episode 4 of How to Fix Your Sucky Self-Tape Lighting. We're introducing the third light to the equation. It's arguably the easiest light, but there are some tricks to it so your stuff doesn't look sloppy. By the end of this thing, you're going to be an expert at the 3-point lighting setup, so let's just get into it without talking anymore. This is lesson 4, the backlight. The backlight is an umbrella term that I'm going to use today. There are a lot of different styles of backlights, and they have a bunch of different names. There's side light, rim light, edge light, hair light. We don't need to learn all of those today. I think there are 1 or 2 types of backlights that are the most convenient for most of us in our self-tapes. If we need to start rigging lights over our head and like putting arms up here, I think we're getting beyond the practicality of your everyday self-tape. If you want to do that, cool, and I can do lessons on that in the future, but for today, I think we can just focus on what I would call a side light. What's really cool about a backlight is that you can practically use any light in your arsenal. If there's one of those lights that you just hate using because it doesn't look good on your face, use it for a backlight. I would happily use this, which is incredible. I would happily use another one of these, which I often use. You can also use one of these hunks of junks. I hate these for their intended use, but as a backlight, they work. You can also use one of these blow-up lights that are in my showcase. These things are actually incredible, and I'll make a video on that in the future. But practically any light will do because we don't need much brightness. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna introduce the backlight to the side of the face that is opposite from the key light. It doesn't have to, it's not a rule. There are no rules. We're painting with light. But for you at home, 99% of the time, I think this is gonna look better if we introduce it on the opposite side of the key light here. That way we can highlight some of these shadows here and give us a little bit of separation off the backdrop. So let's turn on the backlight to show you what's going on. There you go. It gives us a little bit of separation, so now it isn't going from a dark arm to a dark wall. Same thing for my face. It's not going from a dark ear to a dark wall. It highlights a little bit of this detail. Gives me a really nice jawline here. It's really, really beautiful and just kind of brings a cinematic feeling to your scene. One of the mistakes I see all the time with a backlight is going too bright. I think it's just a matter of taste, and you can do it if you feel like it, but in my opinion, a bright light like this starts pulling attention away. Sure, it looks kind of impressive, I get it, but it starts to bring our attention away from the eyes and starts to bring our attention over here. Watch what happens when I dim it down to a place where we're not brighter than the key light and we can start focusing on my eyes. You can just feel your attention go back to my face, right? But the subtlety of this beauty is still there. You're just not focused on it like you were when it was up here. This just kind of drowns out the face. At this point, the key light is no longer the brightest light. This is the brightest light on us. I think it gets really beautiful when we get really subtle with it. We can go down here and we're just now starting to just shape this. It's not something that we're really noticing. It's a beautiful, classy touch back there, but it's not drawing our attention like it starts to when we're going up here. I see this all the time and it's just, I think it's too much. So now what I've done is I've moved the backlight from over there to this side, and let's see how that looks now. And I don't hate this. I do like it. I just prefer putting it over here because this side of the face is facing the camera and it just gives it a little bit more detail over here. But aside from that, it's not that I don't like it. On, off, on, off, on, off. I just don't think it adds as much beauty as the other side does. But again, this is all personal taste. There is no right or wrong answer. So you guys can see an example of near side key lighting. Again, I got the key light on the near side of my face. Now I'm going to turn on that light, and there's what that looks like with the backlight on this side and the shadow side of the near side key lighting. Also looks pretty damn good.